Thank you. I'd like to call the meeting to order. This is the regular scheduled meeting of the Board of Township Trustees. The date is November 1st, and the time is 5:02.
We'll call the roll. Mr. Mahoney? Here. Mr. Crandall?
Here.
Mr. Genowine is absent for business reasons, and Dave Simcoe, fiscal. Here.
Could you rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, please?
I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, the first item on the agenda is approval of minutes. I'll move approval of the regular meeting of October 18th.
Second?
Mr. Mahoney?
Yes.
Mr. Crandall?
Yes. Next item is the special meeting of October 25th. I will move approval.
Second?
Call the roll. Mr. Mahoney?
Yes.
Mr. Crandall?
Yes. Any additions or deletions to the agenda?
Trustee Crandall, I think you have an email requesting a postponement or continuation of the Resolution 16-135 in the hearing?
Yes. And that is...
Is it item 4 and 5? Yeah.
That'd be 4 and 5.
4 and 5, right. And is there a date for that they want to move it to?
Yes, November 15th, our next meeting, 5 o'clock. Right.
John,
Zoning. Go
sorry.
ahead.
Just in light of everybody coming home here, I think we may have some folks that wanted to talk about this tonight.
We do.
You want to wait till we get to the end of it?
That's what I thought we'd
Okay,
do,
very
and try
good.
to get through the business. Abate?
Which one are you on?
This last one?
Here, you want
Means to clean. It means the property might need cleaning.
High grass
Long
cutting.
grass, or it needs some,
Usually it's,
It's maybe not inhabited or something of that nature.
normally it's mowing high grass.
And is this one mowing?
We're
Yeah.
not to this item yet. Okay, zoning department, Darrell.
Good evening. I have 2 items on the agenda. The first one is Resolution 16-134, approve amendment to previously approved PUD. Scott, if you can bring up the map of that, or the site plan rather. Thank you. The applicant is requesting an amendment to the R3 planned unit development that was previously approved by the trustees on January 6, 2015, in order to split the 15.9 acre parcel into 2 separate parcels for financial reasons. The southern parcel, parcel A, would encompass the main building, which is the skilled care facility. It's right down there. And then parcel B, the northern parcel, would be the villas, the senior independent living villas. There are 2 zoning requirements that the trustees should be aware of in considering this request. The first concerns the impervious coverage on the site. Residential PUDs are required to have no more than 40% of the gross acreage covered by buildings and pavement. Currently, this site has 39% coverage. The proposed split would give parcel A, the southern parcel, 49% coverage, and it would be 9% over the requirement. Conversely, the northern parcel, parcel B, would have 29, almost 30% coverage. The second requirement is that of building setbacks. The minimum side setback is 10 feet. The proposed lot split would leave 2 of the villas, these bottom 2 right down here, and at 3 points they'd be 8 feet, 4 feet, and just under 6 feet from the new property line, so they'd be within the setback. And then additionally, the main building would be 19 and a half feet from the setback line here. And if you consider that to be a rear setback, the requirement is 30 feet. So any deviation from the setback requirement, by the trustees approving this PUD amendment, they would also be approving the deviation from the setbacks. I'd also like to note that the Lucas County Plan Commission staff has reviewed the request and elicited comments from the relevant agencies such as Lucas County engineers. Those comments and recommendations were forwarded on to the trustees. And Sylvania Township staff has no objections to the proposed lot split. And Michael Brand is here representing the applicant if you have any questions.
Mike, did you want to make a statement?
Yes. Okay. The intention of the lot split is simply for financial reason for the loan. Trilogy Health Services has a contract to lease and operate the main skilled care and assisted living facility and the independent living villas as a single business. D&K Development is owning both properties, both the independent living villas and the skilled care and assisted living facilities. Their loan for the skilled care facility does not also cover the independent living villas, so they needed a separate loan for those. But both loans have a contingency in at D&K. The developer building the facility has to maintain ownership of both of them. So there's no intention to split ownership or split use. It is just for being able to clearly separate the loans and financing building, both entities.
Thank you. Any questions? Yeah.
We're not moving the requirements for the property lines, they're not changing, are they?
No, we're not changing the overall site, the plan of development and the property that trustees previously approved. We're not proposing to change any of that. We're simply proposing to add that highlighted line through the middle of it to split it into two parcels.
The way I see it, nothing. I mean, it's still the original plan. But I would note that, let's say, in the future, this parcel would be non-conforming because of the open space.
Yes.
So, let's say for some reason, a long time from now, they would want to sell that to somebody else, it would be a non-conforming use, correct, Darrell? Mm-hmm. So they are kind of, it could be solved, but for now, this one would be.
And we've got it tightened down, so the developer couldn't come in and say, well, since we've got this separate PUD, we want to go ahead and expand the footprint of the project. Is there any reasoning that might be in the back of your guys' mind for future?
No, there's no additional work plan. There is no changing. The project was through design originally funded by one real estate investment trust that is allowed to have both independent living villas and skilled care within its holdings. They changed funds so that now they cannot have, each fund is more specific. It can only have the independent living or the skilled care facility. There's no intention to change it. Trilogy Health Services is operating it. The ratio to villas and beds is what they operate throughout the regions. There's not a plan to add additional villas or anything of that nature.
Is there anybody here to speak against this? Any comments? Okay.
Could you state your name again?
Michael
it's
Brand,
down.
Manning Smith.
Okay.
You signed in.
Oh, he did? Okay, good. All right.
Thank you. I'll move Resolution 16-134 to make an amendment to the previously approved PUD.
Second?
Mr. Mahoney?
Yes.
Mr. Crandall?
Yes. Next, Darrell. Thank you, Mike.
Thanks, Mike.
My next item is Resolution 16136, authorization to abate property.
I'll offer Resolution 16136 for authorization of abating the property.
Second?
Mr. Crandall?
Yes.
Mr. Mahoney?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Darrell.
Thanks, Darrell.
I didn't bring it out.
Any questions for the fire department? Yeah.
I don't.
I have none. Thanks, Chief.
Chief, you got anything for them?
Police department?
Anything for the chief?
You okay?
Thanks, Chief.
Thank you. John, you're up.
Thank you.
Administrator.
I have a public hearing for street lighting petition for Brent Crossing, Plat 4. I request to open the hearing. Anybody may talk?
We'll call the hearing to order. Is there anyone here to speak for the street lighting plat? Anybody opposed?
In that case,
Yeah, close the hearing.
here. Then I have Resolution 16140, approval of the street lighting petition for Brent Crossing, Plat 4.
I'll offer Resolution 16140, approve the street lighting for Brent Crossings, Plat 4.
Second?
Mr. Crandall?
Yes.
Mr. Mahoney?
Yes.
Next item is Resolution 16141 to support TMACOG's study of a regional bulk water supply system.
That's correct. We've been asked to pass this resolution showing support for the TMACOG study. As you can read in the resolution, what it is accomplishing. Mainly, it's looking at the possibility of a regional bulk water supply system for the Lucas County area.
I'll offer Resolution 16140, supporting TMACOG's study of a regional water system.
Second?
Mr. Crandall?
Yes.
Mr. Mahoney?
Yes.
Next up, Mr. Simcoe.
Yes, we have two resolutions on the agenda, but before I get to the resolution, I wanted to inform the board that, as you know, the state auditor comes in and audits our books on a every 2-year basis. And the state auditor came in and audited our books here at the township for the years 2014 and 2015. And I wanted to report that we did receive an unqualified opinion. There were no findings or citations. It was just basically an excellent review that we had of our books and records. It was probably, in the years I've been here, the best audit we've really ever had as far as the findings and the report by the auditor. I wanted to say that one of the reasons this is I think we have a very good finance department here in the township. We have Vicki Allspa, who's been here for 27 years and knows township finance and township books and records the back of her hand, and then is an extremely valuable employee. And then Linda Gilsdorf, who's been here 16 years and working in our finance department. And we just had Sheila Henry retire, who had been here about 10 years in that, and we're in the process of replacing her with a new employee. And the other person that we have to mention is Scott Smith, who's sitting right here. And Scott is our finance director, and Scott is a CPA. He's been with us only 2 years. And so Vicki and Linda are in the process of training him as to the ways of the township. But Scott, though, has 30-plus years of experience in government finance, and he brought all that with him to the township. He's been with the auditor's office. He's been with the city of Sylvania, and then when he retired from both of those positions, we were lucky to kind of snap him up when we had a vacancy, and he works 3 days a week. But Scott really is the driver of the finance department, very important to us in what we do, and the experienced employees that we have. And the cooperation we get from the departments that we have. So I don't want to prolong this, but I did want to just acknowledge them for the important work that they do in helping us get the audit done that we did, a perfect audit. And so Scott, you and the team in there should be congratulated on what you're doing.
Yeah, great job.
And,
congrats to you, Dave, keeping an eye on it, keeping it on the right path. So.
It's you have these people. Yeah.
It's a good feeling, really.
Well, you have these good people that enable me to sleep at night when we're handling, over $25 million that comes in and goes out of the township and that. And so, you do want to be able to sleep at night, and these people help us do it. And so, that said, we have Resolution 16138, and it's a request for advancement of taxes for the 2017 fiscal year. And what this is, it's a standard resolution that we pass, and you can either not pass this and wait until sometime in July and get a distribution of funds to the township, or you can request that the county advance us funds on the monies that are going to be collected. And of course, we need those funds coming in so we can make payroll, frankly, and pay all of our bills. And so I would ask that you pass Resolution 16138 so we can get advances of funds from the county.
I'll move Resolution 16138, request advancement of taxes for the 2017 fiscal year.
Second.
Mr. Mahoney?
Yes.
Mr. Crandall?
Yes.
And the last resolution I have is, where'd that go there? There it is. Resolution 16-139, and it's township. We need some appropriations from the unencumbered balance. As we start moving toward the end of the year, we sometimes have to move slight amounts of money within funds. We're not going outside of our budget, but we do need to move some funds around. And so there's smaller sums, and I would ask the trustees to approve Resolution 16-139.
I'll offer approval of Resolution 16139.
Second?
Mr. Mahoney?
Yes.
Mr. Crandall?
Yes.
And that's all I have. Thank you.
Thanks, Dave. Good
Any
job.
open discussion? Any questions on chairman's report or administrator's report? Good. Okay, hearing of the public on non-agenda items. Rob Wright.
I'll make sure you can read it this week.
Thank you.
Had some discussion about the noise issue we brought up.
Yes, right, could you come up here so they can pick you up on the sound?
Thank you. Just a quick follow-up on the conversation, discussion we had 2 weeks ago on the noise ordinance from Kings Hollow and Heisler Road. And I've had some conversation with a couple of people. We're going to continue that after the meeting, unless there's anything you want to provide.
No, I'm glad to say we're on top of it. It sounds like
Yep.
we are. Thank you.
I'd also say we had a meeting with our prosecutor. We had 2 prosecutors there, and the police chief, and zoning and that, so we're working as hard as we can on it.
Great. So maybe just touch base with Rob. I know the chiefs are working on it too, so.
Right.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks, Rob.
Yep.
Bonnie
I have to
Ross.
report back to my neighbors.
That's all good. No, we want, hey, you know what? That's good to hold us accountable.
Okay.
My name is Tom Kirkhope. I live at 3437 Piney Point Drive. And a number of us are here this evening, and we're here a couple of weeks ago to discuss a similar subject. We understand that this was taken off of the agenda for this evening We weren't informed of that until we actually walked in to attend the meeting. And that is Resolution 16-135, approve a zoning change request. And most of us who are here this evening are here to object to this zoning request because of the effect we feel it would have on our neighborhood. And we have outlined those, and we've made up a list of reasons for our feeling this way, and I'd be happy to give you each a copy. But I can run through them very quickly right now, if
could do it
you would like to hear it.
I think that'd be good, don't you?
Oh, my gosh, yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
We understand that the zoning change comes from FFC, which is a privately owned investment firm out of Pittsburgh, who would like to put in a facility for a senior living facility. And this facility will consist of a 4-story apartment building with 127 units in it. And this one will be built across the street from one that already exists at the same end of Percentum Road. And we're very concerned about what the effect this will have on our neighborhood, which is from that point on exclusively residential. We do not feel that our neighborhood is equipped to handle the attendant extra traffic. Percentum at that point is a dead-end street which connects into another area which some of us live in, called Carytown North, which I'm sure many of you are familiar with. Most of us who live there are already seniors ourselves, and so we don't think that this is an unreasonable request coming from people who aren't concerned. We are concerned, and we're not trying to keep retirement age people out of our neighborhood. That's not the point at all. We're being told that the builders seem to be speaking out of both sides of their mouths on what kind of a facility this will be. They've said it will be senior living, and because the people will be seniors, they won't have many cars because they won't be driving. But on the other hand, they're also telling us that they are active seniors. They are not people who will require a lot of medical care, and so our assumption is they probably will be driving cars. The way the street is configured around that major traffic intersection on McCord and Central, many people have already begun to bypass that intersection and cut through our neighborhood in trying to avoid a very busy, and especially right now, in the midst of road construction, a very snarled sort of traffic situation. It's true that there are very few young families with young children in our area. As a matter of fact, as I've already said, most of us are seniors ourselves, some of us with ambulation problems, but with the expected increase in traffic, it's going to be quite a burden on people who are trying to walk, and there are bicycle riders, and there are a number of other young adult people in that area who, there are no sidewalks and no streetlights on Percentum, which is where the bulk of the traffic now is. Another thing that we're concerned about is this is going to change the kind of voters that live in our neighborhood. They're going to be non-property owners who will be voting as Sylvania residents. and so they will have an opportunity to vote on tax levies. And the things we're particularly concerned about is their influence will be felt as far as, for example, school levies are concerned. People who don't have children in the Sylvania schools are likely to vote against school tax levies because they don't want to be taxed. And this will tend to tilt the voting in that direction. We are also concerned about, there's already been some change in our water pressure. Now, we are not 100% sure that that is a result of the increase in senior living units that are already there, but it does happen that we lived in that area for a number of years before the senior living facility was put up, and it was only after that that our water pressure began to drop. Now, this new facility, which will be 3 times the size of the existing senior facility, which my mathematics tells me will increase by a factor of 400% the amount of water users in the area. We're concerned about what this is going to do to our neighborhood, and we'd ask you to consider that in making your decision. That's all I have to say, unless someone else does.
Thank you. Well, sure.
Yeah. Hey, Tom, you look just like a guy I know. Jim Kirkup, is that your son at all?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, he is, yeah.
Yeah, I went to high school with him.
Oh, you're kidding?
Yes.
St. John's?
Yeah, tell him I said hello.
I will.
Yeah, nice to see you.
Ma'am? Sure. Sorry about that.
A lot of resemblance.
Our meetings are recorded, so. And who are you, ma'am?
My name is Sandra Weissman. I'm a neighborhood planner.
Okay, thank you.
We're the vendors in the cars come down. Anyway, I'm sorry. My main issue is density. The idea of a 4-story apartment building, a big one, of 127 units, is way out of line for that area. There's just nothing nearby, except they mentioned, oh, well, Lowe's is about that size down the block. There's no comparison. We understand that this is a transitional area, and that you want to gradually move into that. But the density at this point is, I would urge you not to let a building of that size be built. We're not opposed to people using it, or even for that purpose, but just think about the number of stories, the way it would look, the number of people, and the whole area that is just not settled. And since we are canceled until next week, if you all could go look and look around, it really would be helpful.
Thank you. Somebody, go ahead.
I just wanted to add another point. As of right now, this building is going to be used for seniors. But it's also been brought to our attention that at some future date, this company can decide to change its mind, want to sell it, and they can just have the ability to sell it to whoever they wish. And we have no say in it. And you're going to, I just don't understand that. I also agree about the 3-story. I mean, no, it's going to be 4-story. But the one across the street is 3-story, and that was quite nice. They've managed to blend in and be part of the community. I really have a great concern for everything that's been said here today. And we do walk. We walk our animals, we bicycle, we have people with three-wheelers going down the road, you know, to do their exercise. And it's just going to change the whole complexion, and everybody coming to avoid traffic on McCord and Central come down Crescendo and shoot around to our area, to our Cedar Creek Road, and 2 seconds later they turn or go straight coming out to avoid everything and end up on McCord, you know, away from all the traffic problems on Central. And so I'm very concerned about all of it, and I think we all are. And I hope you'll consider it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Weisel.
Jerry?
Trustee Crandall, Trustee Simcoe, Trustee Neal Mahoney, and I'm sorry the other trustee could not make it here for a vote tonight, and Administrator John Zeidler. I'm a resident, I live at 3421 Ammerwood Lane, Carytown North. One of the major reasons I moved into the area was the ideal location and the community itself. And we are right on the Wildwood Trail. And has there been any consideration, the walking trail and the bike trail, before the zoning is submitted or voted upon, is there any consideration as to the walkability and the livability of the residents in the neighborhood? Is that taken into consideration?
Where you live at, Jerry, or back where the new project is going to...
The entire project, entire Carytown North, because we're right on the trail for all intents and purposes.
Right.
And what the developer is planning, 127 units, which is going to bring a whole lot of additional traffic into the neighborhood as a shortcut. It's going to be a giant mess, believe me. And the other speakers before me touched on things that I'm concerned about. They've already articulated their thoughts on it, but...
To answer your question, I don't think there's any trail that's a part of what their plan was on this. Just their on-site, their PUD, their planned unit development was all they submitted. There aren't any additional trails, I don't think, in the plan.
But are they going to do anything to help the walkability or livability?
No, that's a great question. Like you said, I wish we were here tonight deciding on this.
So do I, so do
And I feel
the
bad
rest
that
of
you
the
guys are all
residents.
here for this reason, and we're not here tonight because of it. But, no, I don't know, Jerry.
Does anybody know what the tax ramifications, if this does go through as it relates to the township, versus if the developer can turn this into rental units? Can he do that? Would that be possible once the zoning is approved? Because that's a major concern of most of my neighbors, is the fact that there's a good possibility, knowing the history of the developer, that perhaps he may, if he isn't intent on doing what he originally said, that he would turn into a rental unit, which would cut down the tax revenue for the township.
The one thing, what I can say is the project across the street, that was fee simple. Those were supposed to be owner-occupieds, and they became rentals. You know, so that project initially came through as single-family, story-and-a-half houses, and they got changed. So I hear you. I understand. I remember the project because I was on the zoning. I was staying close to the zoning when all that happened 8 years ago, or how many years ago it happened. So to answer your question, yeah, it could be. I mean, those are questions I think those are viable questions. I hope you guys come back next week. I'm sorry you're here tonight for 2 weeks. But that's, Jerry, I want you back up here asking the same question again, because that runs through my mind.
It will be voted upon on the November 15th meeting?
Yes.
Okay. And if it's voted down, can the developer, can he go a step further? Is there another appeal process? Or are you guys
I'll
the,
let Darrell answer that, but I think he has to start over, right, Darrell?
Right.
You can't, if he can't make changes with the same application.
all right,
Is it a 1-year waiting period?
I would have to look, I think if it's a new plan, you can start immediately,
Okay.
start over immediately.
in closing, I would advise, if any of the trustees or Mr. Crandall or anybody else involved in this, take the time to drive through that neighborhood, and you'll see better firsthand exactly what we're talking about, because with what he plans on doing with it currently, it will be a real mess, and it would be a very, very dramatic negative influence or a negative impact, not only in Carytown North, but also the Sylvania Township. Thank you very much for your time. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Gary.
Thank you. I think we had one more there.
Walt Rager,
Thank you, Walt.
425 County Point Drive. I do ask you to turn this proposal down. It's being presented to us as a facility for people 55 plus, as they call seniors. In the proposal, it talks about a maximum of 252 parking spaces. The staff recommended that not all of those be put in initially. I think like 172 or something like that were to be put in, and the others would be deferred. And you have to wonder, when is the deferment going to come into being? On the proposal that I have here, there were 22 conditions that staff recommended be adopted before their approval. Number 20 says, in the event the apartments are to be used for non-senior based demographic in the future, the applicant shall install the deferred parking at a ratio of 2 parking spaces per each dwelling unit. That's the 252. My point is here is they're telling us it's for 55 plus, but they've left an avenue for themselves to get out of that. We don't know what this facility is going to be in the future, and 252 additional cars in our neighborhood. I think Tom mentioned that we're on Persimmon's dead end. Well, it's not quite dead end. When you go north, there's one outlet, and that takes everybody that's going north on Persimmon right down through our neighborhood, only way out. And I live, my property backs up on Persimmon in the back, and I'm on Piney Point in the front, so I'm like in a horseshoe. I see the pickup trucks and the cars coming up our backside, coming around and going down the front side. And every day, it's the case. Now, we're already busy with all the traffic that's there. But now think about Giant Eagle, a big store up there. That's out of business now, so that traffic has ceased. But at some point, that's also going to come back into play. And that traffic is going to be partially going up our way. And part of the problem is that traffic light at Central and McCord is a slow light. There's a lot of traffic has to get through there. So people use our neighborhood as a bypass around that. And I don't see that that's going to stop. And for that reason, I ask that you turn that proposal down. Thank you.
Thank you.
I have one question.
Yes.
My name is Dave Jagosinski, 3437 Persimmon Road. Could anyone tell me, are these,
You're not on here, Dave?
I signed it. It's Betty and Dave, my wife and I.
Okay, thank you.
Signed it?
Yep.
Okay, my question is, are the developers the property owners of record, or are they waiting for the zoning change to purchase that property? Are the original owners still the owners right now?
I would doubt that, but Darrell can answer that question. Darrell?
As far as I know, the original owner still on that.
So they're waiting for the zoning change in order to purchase that property?
That's typically what we deal with.
Okay.
Right.
Right.
Thank you, Dave.
If I may. Greg Lampkin, 3520 Berry Drive. Thanks to all my neighbors for showing up that actually care, and probably one of the newer people in the neighborhood. First, note that there is some concern with all these people because they haven't been outright lied to, but they have been lied to in the past. One, with the other apartment complex there. Two, when Carytown was brought in, there were supposed to be sewers brought in for Presentum also that conveniently got taken off the ballot and not put in. So they were cheated there also. Keep in mind, with this new project, we have a lot of foot traffic that comes across from St. James Woods that comes up our street going to the bike path. We already have added traffic that everybody's spoken about due to some construction and the neighborhood, just people cutting through that it's just way out of hand, okay? Keep that in mind. These people have been stepped on a lot in the past and not that far off. So the concerns that they're bringing are very real. Please come down and check it out for yourselves. That's all I have.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you for attending and giving us your thoughts. Do you have anything else, John? Nothing?
No, except we do have a item.
Oh, we have a
on the agenda
special meeting,
for- No, executive session.
executive session.
One question I do have, just from a future for your association, is there like one point of contact? Again, we apologize for the last minute cancellation here with today, but how do we tighten this up, Darrell? Is there somebody within?
You can get a hold of Terry McCarthy or
Terry McCurry, I know Terry. Okay, so Terry's on both sides of the association?
Yes.
I didn't know that, okay.
he can email us.
Okay, yeah. I'll get you Terry's. You just met with Terry on some other issues, so, okay, great.
I got his phone number if you want.
Darrell, you want to write that down so you can,
419-841-3551. I called him and I found out that when I walked up and I noticed the notice on the door. He knew absolutely nothing about it.
again, typically, this doesn't happen very often, Jerry, it just happened this way tonight. I wish we'd have gotten through this tonight, so.
And,
What is your regular meeting time, the first and third Tuesday of the month?
yes,
Correct.
5 o'clock.
I asked why last month it was held on Wednesday night.
That's a great question.
That was a special.
That was a special meeting.
That was a special.
The election, or we had, that was.
No, that was a regular, just a special. We had a
No,
regular
no,
meeting
that
and
was
then a special.
meeting. If you notice tonight, we approved 2 minutes. One was a special meeting, which occasionally we have to have, but we put notice in the paper, and then we had our regular meeting. Awesome. I'll move to go into executive session to consider the appointment, employment, dismissal, discipline, promotion, demotion, or compensation of public employees or officials, or the investigation of charges, complaints against a public employee or official, as authorized by the Ohio Revised Code.
Second?
And it's at 5:45.
5:45.
Call the roll, Mr. Mahoney?
Yes.
Mr. Crandall?
Yes.
Jerry.
I don't think we,
You guys tonight.
No problem.
I mean, because soccer's done on Tuesday, it's not soccer tonight, but.
We're on.
I'm on.
Okay.
I'll move to go out of executive session at 6:14.
Second?
Mr. Mahoney?
Yes.
Mr. Crandall?
Yes, he's getting to me here. I'll move to adjourn at 6:15.
Second?
Mr. Mahoney?
Yes.
Mr. Crandall?
Yes.
All right, good job, John Susan, on that. See you, Michael. Okay, see you guys. Have a great night.
Take care, Neil.